It's a Monday and the week ahead looks exciting with the latest startup news that has been making headlines. I'm Priya Sheth and I welcome you all to the Daily Dispatch. Now, there's been a lot of movement in the e-commerce and startup ecosystem, and the three companies that have been in focus today include Cartrade, Travel Union, as well as Amazon. Now, headline number one, after raising about 900 crore rupees from anchor investors last week, online classifieds portal Cartrade has launched its initial public offering. The IPO is expected to raise about 2,998 crore rupees at the upper end, and with a war chest of about 668 crore rupees in balance sheet, analysts say that Cartrade is well positioned and could look at capturing adjacent business opportunities.
Well, headline number two, Bollywood actor Sonu Sood has launched a B2B travel technology platform, Travel Union. This platform is specifically built to serve the needs of rural customers, and this platform will be onboarding rural travel agents, small business owners, as well as enterprises. Now, travel agents will get access to trains, over 10,000 bus operators, 500 plus domestic and international flights, and over 10 lakh hotels. Well, moving on to headline number three, e-commerce giant Amazon will be venturing into the grocery pickup model with more stores. This means that people can go up to the nearest more store and pick up orders they placed online. Amazon had acquired more retail chain from the Aditya Birla Group in 2019 in partnership with Samara Capital.
Well, moving on to our second segment, I have with me someone who needs no introduction. I have with me Gautam Singhania, who is, apart from running Raymond, is also running a new edtech venture called Quest Plus. Thank you very much, Mr. Singhania, for joining us today. I want to begin by asking you about the whole boom in the edtech space and why this is the perfect time to be specifically present in the whole edtech space with Quest Plus.
So Singhania schools have been in the education space for over 50 years now. And with the pandemic and, I think with people going into a lockdown, I think the edtech space was in any case coming up. But I think with the pandemic, people realized that you needed to go and reach the children where they were because they were not able to come out. And hence the edtech space boomed and it went through the roof. So it was an opportunity for us. It's like in retail, you go into an omni-channel. You can call physical school retail and you can call this as a digital and call it an omni-channel if you want. So this was something that was waiting to happen.
What about the kind of adoption of this platform? If you could run us through some metrics in terms of the number of students who've already signed up and the kind of traction that you've seen over the last couple of months.
So we are just launched. We're in the beta phase, and I think we've had about 80,000 downloads so far of the app. I think we've had almost 15,000 active users regularly. So the numbers are looking better. They're not great or something, but it's a good, encouraging start. And we're also on target for our revenue numbers for the year.
Right. I'm going to come to those revenue numbers in just a bit. But before that, I want to ask you about the kind of strategies that you will be putting into place in terms of what the key focus areas would be as far as the whole education space is concerned.
Well, I think it's really edtech. I mean, it's B2B, B2C. We're going into schools. We're going everywhere. And really, the Singhania brand has got a lot of brand equity in the education space. So it's something that we are very happy about. And, it's humble beginnings for us right now. But let's see where it lands up.
Will there be focus areas in terms of what categories that you will be focusing on within the edtech space? And, while I do understand that the K-12 space is a big focus area for a lot of edtech players, what would be your primary focus?
I think the primary focus is K-12, but, arts, different disciplines, we're going to add those capsules on. But it's primarily focused at K-12.
I also believe that career counseling is one aspect that you will be adding onto the platform. It's already present in some form. Do you think that's also going to be see a significant uptake going forward?
Yes, I mean, see, any kid who's coming out of school is looking for counseling. Now, access to the best counselors is difficult. If you can create a platform for this, it's obviously going to be better. I mean, physical geography doesn't become a limitation for counseling. You can, like you and me are talking on a video call today. The world has changed. So I think this edtech platform can become a great place for counseling. You don't have to go too far except your iPad to actually get counseling.
Right. I want to understand in terms of international collaborations, will you be tying up with global universities? Because I believe a lot of certifications are now happening with tie-ups with other universities in international locations.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we are always looking at opportunities. It's a little premature for me to disclose what's going on, but yeah, I think certainly, why not?
And in terms of the kind of paid user base, what kind of targets do you have in terms of overall revenue numbers that you were talking about?
So, actual numbers are all confidential. We're not in a position to give them out, but I think we're running pretty much on target what we set ourselves.
And in terms of investment, what kind of investment are you looking to pump into this platform? Because, we're talking at a time when the whole edtech space is seeing a huge rush of funds. We're seeing Byju's, Unacademy, and so many other edtech players seeing so much traction from, in terms of investment from private equity players.
So you have to understand they are 10 years ahead on the cycle. Okay, they've taken 10 years to do it. We might take 2 or 3 years to do it. So we put a modest investment in just now. We're building out our business. We're in the first year. Nothing's going to happen overnight, but I think there's a big enough market for everybody. So I think slowly in 6 months, we'll have a better idea once we, like you put your leg in the water and see how hot it is, and then you really figure out what you can do with it. So that's where we are.
And just a final question before I let you go, in terms of the future outlook, what kind of vision do you have for Quest Plus in terms of growth, in terms of the kind of verticals it's present in? What ambitions do you have for?
So, you've seen what the others have done. You've seen what the market leaders have done. Even if you get to 50% of that, I think we would have done well to start with. The sky is the limit. I mean, that's why you're seeing the valuations that others are getting. What valuation edtech business is getting. I think, having said that, it's a little early for me to comment. I don't want to sound wrong on it, but there's a huge opportunity, which is why we've got into it.
All right. On that note, Mr. Singhania, thank you very much for your time, and thank you so much for being a part of the Daily Dispatch.
Well, time now to wrap up this edition of the Daily Dispatch. I'll catch you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Goodbye and stay safe.